I read a letter from a subscriber of an esoteric magazine named Svetlana. My husband's mother is a very complicated person. She constantly finds fault with me. She disapproves of the clothes I wear, criticizes my cooking, claims I can't clean the floors properly, and accuses me of being unfaithful to my husband. This is just a small part of what she expresses towards me. Once, when my husband was away on a trip, and we were alone together, we had a heated argument. She started saying nasty things about my parents, and that's when I couldn't take it anymore. All the accumulated resentment from years of living under the same roof with her erupted like a poisonous fountain. After expressing myself, I grabbed my bag, documents, slammed the door, and left the house, vowing never to return. I walked down the street, crying. I do love my husband. It was dark outside, and in this village, I had no one except my husband's family. I decided to go to the neighboring village, where my aunt, my mother's sister, lived. It was very close. You just passed by the cemetery, and you were there. I knew the way perfectly, and the cemetery didn't scare me at all. On the contrary, passing by, there was a strange sense of calmness. It seemed like the wind even stopped blowing near the graveyard. I wasn't at peace inside, of course, but I felt no fear. I had almost walked the entire road along the cemetery when I noticed something flickering among the trees out of the corner of my eye. For a moment, my heart almost stopped from fear, but then I managed to discern in the darkness that it was an old man walking on the path. He called out to me. I stopped, but my heart was still pounding with fear like a rabbit's. "Why are you wandering alone at night?" he asked. "I had a fight with my mother-in-law and my husband. A truck driver hasn't returned from his trip yet," I replied. "You're a hothead who solves problems like that on the spot. We all make mistakes. You need to know how to forgive. Maybe your mother-in-law has suffered all her life from her mother or mother-in-law, and now she's venting her frustration on you. Don't keep your feelings to yourself. Express to her what bothers you, but don't yell. And sometimes give her a hug. We all need affection. Let me walk you to the village. I have a request for you." The old man explained that he was from a distant place, but his relatives lived in the village. Recently, his grandson ended up in the hospital, and he urgently needed to meet someone to save the child's life. He earnestly asked me to go to his relative's house and deliver an envelope to Marina, or Nikolai, the parents of the grandson. I was surprised that the old man had nighttime meetings and wondered why he didn't go to his relatives himself. But I decided to help for the sake of the grandson. So, I agreed to deliver the envelope. The old man explained in detail how to get to his relative's house, and I easily found the place. As soon as I approached the gate, a dog in the yard began to bark fiercely at me, and I thought about running away. However, a woman came out. As I understood, she was the mother of the grandson. "Hello. Are you Marina?" I asked. She confirmed. But when I mentioned that I had greetings from their grandfather, Marina inexplicably screamed, horror reflected on her face. The dog continued to bark desperately, following the woman. A man, apparently Nikolai, came out of the house. I told him that I met the old man who said their grandson was in trouble, and he asked me to deliver an envelope to his relatives. Marina burst into tears and rushed into the house, while Nikolai, deeply concerned, began questioning me about the appearance of the old man and where I had met him. I started describing my companion. Then Nikolai asked me to come into the house. Holding the trembling hands, he opened the envelope and took out a photograph. It showed the old man and a little child biting an apple. On the back, something red, resembling blood, was written. At that moment, Marina rushed back with a pile of photo albums, frantically searching through the pictures. After a few minutes, she pulled out the exact same photo, but without the inscription. I distinctly remember that this photo was the only one. There was no other, only one photo. Like this. I felt uneasy. I don't know how to explain it. I was just asked to deliver the envelope. He seemed like a good old man. Why not help? But our grandfather is dead, Marina suddenly shouted. Which grandfather? Yours, the one I talked to. Are you saying this letter is from a deceased person? Now my hands were shaking. I sat down on a chair. Thoughts were swirling in my head. Nikolai brought me a glass of water and began to tell me that their grandfather, depicted in the photograph, had passed away 6 years ago. Recently, they had indeed faced a tragedy. Their son was involved in a car accident. He tried to avoid a sudden moose emerging from the forest, but lost control and crashed into a fence. The moose was unharmed, but their son suffered a severe spinal injury. An urgent operation was needed, but it required a significant amount of money. The doctors gave them a week to gather the funds, as operating later would be futile. They had to urgently seek money, sell everything of value they had, but it wasn't enough. One might think that your story about the old man was some kind of cruel joke. But where did this photograph come from? Nikolai pondered. Oh, God. Could it be that I was escorted to the village by a deceased person? I even wondered why a stranger, an old man, was walking through the cemetery at night. But how can there be a letter from the dead? When I calmed down a bit, Nikolai suggested escorting me to my aunt's house to make me feel less frightened. As soon as we stepped onto the porch, the dog started barking vigorously and strained against the chain, eager to reach us, but the chain held it back. Actually, Bayan has never behaved like this. He was brought into the house as a puppy by his grandfather, Nikolai explained, attempting to calm the dog. However, it continued its relentless barking. As Nikolai approached the length of the chain, the dog rose on its hind legs and lunged at Nikolai's chest. In Nikolai's shirt pocket lay the mysterious photograph. When he took it out, Bayan whimpered and started licking the picture. Then, suddenly, the dog darted in the opposite direction, towards the garden, but the chain restrained it. Nikolai instructed me to go into the house, grabbed a flashlight, and went towards the dog. He unhooked Bayan, and the dog rushed into the garden. Marina and I followed them. Bayan sat near an old, sprawling apple tree, barking. Then he began digging the soil around the tree's roots. He dug for a long time, and we watched the dog, captivated. Finally, he sat down and barked. Nikolai shone the light into the hole, said nothing, ran for a shovel, and after a while pulled out a large box from under the tree's roots. Inside was some kind of document, under the flashlight's glow. We tried to figure out what this document was. It resembled a bank account in the grandson's name, and the sum mentioned was much larger than the one needed for the treatment. Marina and Nikolai decided not to celebrate until they went to the bank and confirmed that they could indeed access the funds. However, the discovery instilled hope in them. It was well past midnight. Amid all these events, I had completely forgotten about my own problems. Nikolai and Marina escorted me to my aunt's house. Despite the late hour, lights were on in the windows. When we entered, I saw my husband and my aunt in tears. As it turned out, as soon as my husband arrived and learned that I had left, he immediately rushed to my aunt's house, but couldn't find me there. They were sure I had done something to myself, and they had already called the hospital, the morgue, and the police department. With the dawn, they planned to search for me in the woods and ravines. I rushed to my husband and started telling him breathlessly about the encounter at the cemetery, receiving a letter from the deceased, and even conversing with him. My husband hugged me tightly and, hiding tears glistening in his eyes, said, "I won't let you go to anyone, especially not to the deceased.